Hi, hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing? It's a Thursday. It's a Bank of England do nothing day. Sweet. Wouldn't it be great to be a central bank? What have you done the last, 6 or 7 weeks? I thought about it really hard, but decided to do nothing. But I did think about it. I was close to changing a word, maybe even a couple of words, but just didn't want to go for it quite yet. Yeah. We were going to change a word, but that would be ridiculous. So anyways, hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Forex.Today. It is Thursday, September 14th, 2017. This is your daily Forex trading strategy session. Let me remind you that trading Forex is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, however, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you can afford to lose. Ohio! Good morning. My name is Wayne McDonell. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Throw your diamonds in the sky. Whoop, whoop.
Dollar again at session high 110.67, high 110.70.
I do these sessions with the overriding goal of helping you become a successful Forex trader. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to be a guide and mentor and teacher and friend, and sometimes play the role of boss and wave my finger when you need it. But all these things are important. Do these sessions 7:30 in the morning, New York time. A couple of hours before the stock market opens in the United States of America, approximately London lunch. So I'm here Monday through Friday, except the first Friday of the month. Just once a month, I'm over at fxstreet.com, where I've hosted Trade Non-Farm Payrolls live for 12 years. Former Forex Speaker of the Year. Also received awards for Best Blog, Best Webinar, Best Education, Best Special Event, and a bunch of other things, but that's because I've been around for so long. So cool. I'm glad you're on my team. I appreciate you. This is my hour of power every morning to be with you. Without fail, hurricanes don't bother me, typhoons don't bother me, earthquakes don't bother me. Socialism bothers me. Huh? Socialist pig dogs. So Graf, isn't that the name of the diamond guy? Daniel knows. Daniel, isn't it Graf? I think it was 2 F's though, isn't it? I don't remember, but Daniel and I a couple of times walked past. We walked past a diamond store. I thought it was Graf. But anyways, just to get through the doors were locked, even during business hours. And just through the glass, you can see 2 armed guards standing next to the door. So if you went into the diamond store to look at the diamonds, they had to unlock the door, open, let you in, and there's 2 guys with guns. You're like, hey, great. That's what everyone wants when they go shopping, huh? So anyways, that was Hong Kong. All right, so I guess we'll do some technical analysis, but we'll start with the pig here. The Bank of England basically decided to do nothing. The board has more people on it now than it did last month or the month before, right? So is it 8 people on the board right now on the committee? So I think it was 6-2, unless it was unless there's 9, then it was 7-2, right? The vote. So really nothing changed there. The language basically hasn't changed. They to summarize, a giant statement. Things are showing signs of of growing and inflation and growing troublesome, but they're not going to do anything about it this year, it looks like. They're worried about it, they're thinking about it, they're watching about it, but maybe next year they'll do something about it. Okay. They are hinting of higher rates, but next year. I don't think this year, maybe December. But basically next year, right, Peter? And wages are not going up. So a lot of inflation that they're seeing might just be related to, the devaluation of the currency, or the falling value of the currency, perhaps, right? So it's not the good kind, because even though the UK is at a 42-year high in employment, everyone that wants a job has a job, is the theory. But the wages are low, and that's because even though everyone has a job, productivity is low. So why would you need to pay more wages, right? So it's not the central bank's job, although governments are leaning on central banks to do more and more and more. The central banks are not really asking for that kind of power. Um, when it comes down to labor force productivity, that's a social/cultural issue, but maybe it could be influenced by the government through fiscal policy, but it's not the central bank's job. So if the central bank sees high productivity and high employment, then that could lead to inflation, and therefore the central bank would adjust interest rates. But that's that. So, in response to these central banks, because Turkey didn't do anything, I think there was another central bank. I think there was 3 central banks that released at the same time. But this means lower for longer, it seems. The Fed's not really in a rush to raise, and they're the leader, right? So, who was it today issued a 100-year bond? Was it like Austria? Did you guys hear about that? A 100-year bond. Yeah, 100. And what that says is they expect interest rates to be less than 2.2% for a century. That's Fazil. Okay. So, anyways, up was the response. So, I don't know if you traded it or not. Okay. Looks like you could have easily bought it off the central pivot, and that's about that. You could have bought the dip, but that would have been a little frightening. So I don't know how you traded it, but that's fine. Just another scalp, moveon.com. Right? You know where the real analysis is? You know where the real money is on this chart? Change it to the 4-hour. That's the real money. This line is the first day of the month. And on the first day of the month, we said the pound would likely go to 133.50-ish. 133.50. That's where the money is. Do you think that's the money? That's not the money. Where were you 14 days ago when we said it would go to 133.40? Well, I'm sorry, it only went to 133.33. Oh, I'm sorry. And we've already been here yesterday. So we're within 7 pips of accuracy on a 14-day period. That's where the money is. You understand? The news is just news. Okay? The news is just news. Analysis is just analysis. And if remember, we set this reversal up. You're actually supposed to be long down here, and I can't even read that. What is it, 128? You're supposed to be long at 128, right? You should be up 500 pips if you did your job. And remember, I did your job for you. I did everything except pull the trigger. We set this up down here. So cool, right? It's just doing what it's supposed to do. And that's the amazing part, right? That we had talked about this back in August 23rd, August 24th, right? That's the money, honey. That's the money. But what happens is the amateurs focus on the little things, right? And they get caught up in that. And things can go wrong. You can get unlucky. You can get slipped. You can get sucked into the pop and drop or whatever, drop and pop. So going back several weeks now, let me go to a 4-hour chart on crude. I believe up in here, I had proposed the idea that, it might have even been farther back, but certainly here anyways. I proposed the idea that we start thinking about a $45, $55 range. How many people would agree with that? We hadn't talked about it before. I just proposed it. I'm like, I have nothing fundamentally to show for it. It's just sort of experience. My spidey sense is tingling, but I think we're ready for a 45-55 range and not a 40-50 range. We were up here though at 50. It came down to 46, not 45, and then has risen, made a higher low off the central pivot, and now we're breaching $50 a barrel, probably on our way closer to 55 or 56. Currently, I have $52.50 as the top for our month. So maybe it goes up to 52.5, right? And then probably what, back down to 50, and then from 50 to 55. Don't you think? So they're pretty good, right? It's not perfect. It dropped from 50 to 46. Yeah. Neato though, right? Gonna zoom in. You remember on Monday, we highlighted, so we had it trapped in a range, the range on the bottom, the range on the top, correct? And we talked about a pivot cluster. Weekly M2, predicting weekly M4, monthly central pivot, right? Well, Tucker, I don't know if the $5 spread matters that much unless you're trading between the spreads, and I think there's just better things to do with your time. The only really comment I have is it must have been about 3-4 years ago. I pointed out at a particular time and date where there was no spread. Brent and WTI was the same price, and I made a big stink about that. But what does it all mean, Basil? North Sea oil versus West Texas oil. Whatever. I don't know. Too many weeds for me on that one. But historically, there's a spread. Is it $5? Is it $4? Is it $6? Don't know. And a lot of people do that. They'll sell Brent and buy WTI. But, I wouldn't do an intermarket spread like that. It's just, I mean, people do it. It's just, I think there's just better things to do, right? So to me, it's just oil. So like, do you really care if Brent goes from 45, or sorry, if WTI goes from 45 to 50 and Brent goes from 50 to 55? If there's a $5 move, who cares what the baseline price was, right? Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, I buy the macroeconomics. I'm not doing intermarket spreads. So anyways, guys, higher high predicts what? You can tell I spent too much time in college. What does a higher high predict? I'll say it in English, not in college professor. Okay, cool. And what does a higher low predict? Okay, what does a higher high predict? What does a higher low predict? Breakout. What does a breakout predict? Notice the pivots. Pivots acting as resistance, pivots acting as support. Notice the moving averages climbing above, but remember in here we're range bound, but out here we're not range bound, right? So the higher high predicts a higher low, higher high, so on and so forth. I believe at some point we're going to want to come back and play with this level. Why? Because it's there. It's not for sure, it's not for certain, but what if you lock children in a candy store for 24 hours? You don't know what they're going to do, but are they going to eat candy? Yeah, probability is high. We don't know. Wow. Whoa. This is a key important area, and I missed that earlier. Look at that. It's interesting. So I have this marked, and I believe, I don't remember the conversation, but I understand the analysis is the analysis, right? If you break this to the downside, you might want to start thinking lower lows and lower highs. That means dollar strength. Very interesting. And it looks heavy over here, huh? Wowzer. So that's interesting. We'll have to pay attention. USD yen. Okay. I know you can't see it because I think I did this, non-farm payrolls. So nothing over here happened yet. But can you see this area here is highlighted? And I'll move this vertical line. I guess I can't. This one? Oh, can't even tell what's going on. You see the vertical line? Are you telling me that we expected this to head up to 111 back when it was 107.80? Now, why would we say 107.80 to 111? I mean, it's not that I'm right. It's like, well, what did I do? What was I doing? Remember, I'm not talking about opinion, I'm talking about technical analysis. There's no opinion in technical. If you do a technical analysis correctly, there should be very little subjectivity. Top of the range, but based on what? Well, look at the bottom, early in the month. Okay. Okay. And I think when I did this, though, we were doing an S1R1 move. Okay, pretty interesting. It actually came down, hit the M1, and then headed up. So if you want to be very conservative, and you would say in this case that your M3 is the target, which we're actually on now. If you want to do the reverse M1, M3, remember there's only 2 counter trend trades that I teach, and this is one of them. The other one is a high close on the weekly pivots, or let's say out of range counter trend trade back to the central pivot. The other one is hitting your target early in the period and then retracing back. So like hitting M1 on the 7th day of the month suggests a counter trend trade. And so that's been fulfilled as well. Just kind of interesting. If this would have held, it would have been an S1R1 inside range. Oh, you can see I had this set up like an arrow. All right, so not a good place to buy anymore. See, again, I'm trying to teach you to buy low, right? You can't sell here, right? Let's do some basics here just to make sure. Because again, it's a mindset. You understand that there's absolutely no way you can sell down here, assuming you knew nothing to the right. But I think we can all agree that I've taught you 1,000 times, 1,000 times, that the one thing that is for certain is you cannot sell down here. How many people agree with that? You know nothing for sure, except that you just simply cannot sell. Someone said, duh, you'd be surprised. This is where amateurs lose their money. Okay? Great. So there are only 2 possibilities, sideways or up. Right? And what did we talk about on Monday? We talked about on Monday, if I can find my mouse, there we go, that this was a buy zone that gives you a target of the red zone. Cool. And that's straight out of the swing trading strategy, nothing interesting there. Okay. Maybe this is significant. Now, am I expecting the Japanese yen to strengthen in September or weaken in September? Those are targets. Correct. Am I expecting the yen to weaken or strengthen? Did I tell you this last week that the yens would weaken, or did I tell you last month that the yens would weaken? Yeah, January. And this was the last one because I don't actually like trading USD yen. But I mean, but it is a fact, right? That this is when you have your hat on, your carry hat, let's say, complete mindset. I actually asked you to open up a separate account just to do this. And all you're looking to do from the third week of August till the third week of October is look to buy yen pairs. And all you need to do is identify levels of support in which you might consider buying. And that's that, right? I mean, that was clear, correct? Tucker says crystal. Clear like run, run, run. Yeah, just kidding. Clear like that volcanic mud they pull out of the Caribbean and sell for $100 a pound. You know, women in Beverly Hills rub it on their breasts. And like, yeah, that's a good use of Caribbean volcanic mud. I'm like, you should charge $200 for that mud. Oh, Peter, yeah, you can go all the way to the third week of November. Sure. There's often a pause in the middle somewhere. Well, Pinko, it depends on the year, but you know, usually what happens, Pinko, is let's say you're in Aussie, then you're in CAD, then you're in Kiwi. Don't forget about pound yen, euro yen, right? And then, you know, and then you come back and then another Aussie, another CAD, another Kiwi, another pound, another euro, another Aussie, another CAD. So like I told the old story about it was when my office was still in Atlanta where I thought I shut down the webinar, so I said goodbye to everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, and everyone's typing in the little chat goodbye. But I had to pee so bad, right? So I'm like, oh, and I leave and I run to the restroom, and I had not actually shut the webinar off. Don't. So I come back and I got a fresh cup of coffee, everything's good, and I sit down. You know, I have 18 screens, right? So I don't even notice that the webinar is still up. And by the way, I can switch like a web, switch the tab on my browser, so I don't even see that the camera's still on and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, so I start trading. I opened up my trading account by accident. Didn't know everyone was watching. And then later on, I noticed the webinar is still running, and people are freaking out because I had something like 150 trades open, but like way over 100 positions open, and people are like, the guy's got 187 open trades. Yeah. Oh, Pinko, you can't be that simple. I'm not going to tell you that. Don't chop it down to basics. Chop it down to uh, make your research complicated, make your trading simple, right? So don't just boil it down to like, this is what Wayne told me to do. No, start getting the experience on the fundamental side, start getting experience on the technical side, and maybe in 10 or 12 years, you'll have a better sense of seasonality and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's nothing basic about it. Otherwise, Forex would be easy, right? But anyways. But the saving grace on that moment, because I think that was the only time I've had a fart like that. But people did freak out because I had so many trades open. And so the webinar was over. I had stopped the recording, but I just had to stop the webinar. So it was about 25 to 30 people or something. And I said, all right, well, look, you see all my numbers now, you know. But I said, the one thing that you should notice on the account and I pointed at it. So it's not the number of trades or how much money I'm making. Notice that my available margin is at 99.5%. Yeah. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, I have no risk in the market. I have 185 trades open and I have no risk in the market. So obviously that took me a long time to build. A long time. Lots of patience, lots of discipline. So anyways. So here's the breakout, the pullback on Monday that we identified. We blew through the weekly pivots, which are unusual, but I believe, look what we're thinking last week. Okay, so we're still working on last week's trade plan. It really is what it is. And is there any magic going on here? No. Look, it's all pretty straightforward trading, right? The support and resistance, look how well it's working, right? The only thing you have to have done is somewhere around the third week of August, you decided that you would like to be a bull. And then you acted like a bull, right? You simply employed the proper strategy down here. You're like, I'm going to start buying dips. Or actually what it is I'm going to start looking for evidence that there's a change in trend. And I believe that was the exact language we used back here. I said, don't buy blindly. I said, we don't know when it's going to take off. But I remember doing big speeches around the third week or on the third week of August. This is when we got serious. I said, look, I don't know if it's going to happen today or this week, but within the next 3 to 6 weeks, I expect a complete turnaround, change of direction, change of trend. I just don't know when, but now is when we start looking for evidence. You guys remember this very specific language that I use? It's important because I don't know when the market's going to flip, right? Right? I simply don't know, but I know when to start preparing, right? But see, that's where the money is made, not like trading volatility after news or something, right? In here, I don't know when, but a higher high is a great start when you happen to be on this day looking for evidence that the trend is going from a downtrend to an uptrend. Well, how about a higher high and then a higher low? It consolidated, and then broke out to the next wave, right? Good job. So Pete got in all his yen trades on the 6th. Now bear in mind, it's important, or let's say it's easier on the 6th of September if you had been waiting at the 20th of August, 21st of August, and you're thinking, well, somewhere around here I'm expecting a change of trend from a downtrend to an uptrend. And then on the 25th to get it, and then on the 6th you're entering on Fibonacci retracements. And all of a sudden you're like, damn, boy, that's exactly what we wanted. But imagine you didn't expect all of that. And you notice how in August the news always gets super, super bad, and everything in the news is telling you you need to like buy Japanese yen. It's the end of the world. This year it's different. Every year they tell you it's different. Every year it's different. Every year is different. Great. Makes bad traders feel good. They're like, it's not my fault. It's North Korea's fault. Right? It's not my fault. It's the central bank's fault. Clink, 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 clink. I used to be a Forex trader once. That's a tough gig. Everything's manipulated by the central banks. It's too risky, geopolitical. It's all random, it's all noise. None of it makes sense. You definitely can't make money as a currency trader. Tough racket, that Forex. Uh-huh. Let's take a look at some kitty cat. Pinko? I don't know, Pinko. Don't boil it down to you're focusing on the wrong thing. You should be paying attention. So no, I mean, you're not that you need to pay attention to me. I didn't mean it that way. I mean, you need to pay attention to the market. So in this case, if you like my point of view, because I don't know if my point of view is right. So let's say you buy in the general theory of this. So don't think of it like, oh, so up and then sideways and all this stuff, because I don't know. But if you have a general buy-in to my point of view, then what you would look for, let's say in yen pairs, is that you can say strategically the yen pairs have a pretty high probability of moving higher. And as a bull, it's our job to identify levels of support in which to buy and be wary of lower lows in this uptrend, because that could be a signal to take profit, take a breather. Maybe they come down for a day or a week or 3 weeks. And then if you're still a bull, still identifying support, you're going to want to look for then key technical patterns that would show you resumption of the longer term daily or weekly uptrend based on the seasonality. So it's like, don't get all caught up on patterns, get caught up in technical indications that confirm or deny your strategy. There's a big difference, you see? Because I don't know what the pattern is, but I know I'm a bull. And I can tell you where support is, and I can tell you when a lower low is made. So I know what to do before it's happened. I just don't know when and at what price. But the price, I can tell you the prices I'm interested in. You see? That kind of stuff. You see, Pinko? So I'm toying with your language, but it's meaningful, the difference of what you're saying and what I'm saying. Yes, you're welcome. So like if I knew what it was going to do, I could just draw the pattern for you. But this year can be slightly different than the past and the past and the past and the past and the past. But the strategy is always going to be the same. So it's our job to do analysis to confirm or deny our hypotheses, because the strategy is simply a hypothesis. Now you have to confirm or deny the hypotheses using systematically gathered data through scientific methodology. Yeah, yeah, right. And the thing is, I do know I'm a bull. And I believe I have good reason why I believe that. Now, I could be completely wrong. I could be completely foolish, all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. But I believe I've made decisions based on hard data. And now technical analysis will tell me what prices to buy and when to take profit. And none of that should change my strategy. You see what I mean? And amateurs do not trade this way. And many professionals don't trade this way. Whatever. So I guess we'll continue here. I'm still in the danger zone, and the fact that we're kicked off 90 again. So I keep hitting 500 pips profit, and then it gets rejected. I'm very nervous here, this confluence of hitting my extreme weekly target and hitting my extreme monthly target. Okay. So I think 2 or 3 times, it's 2 times in the last day or so, I've hit the 500 pip profit. Cedric is having sound problems again. Are you guys can hear okay though, right? I've noticed that Cedric's had sound problems a few times. Yeah, poor Cedric. What should I do? I mean, are people actually trading the weekly pivot? Okay, and the thing is that kicked off the psych level. This is 91. So do you think people respected the psychological level? Okay, I think the answer is yes. And then I look at this, and I think they're now using the pivots. This is key, guys. Traders are taking profit, aren't they? So right here is like, well, it's only 485 pips or something. Up here was 500 pips. So what is this? I'm going to lock in 450 pips. Yeah, that's 450 pips profit, worst case scenario. So I don't know. I see. The thing is, it's screaming at me, weekly target, monthly target. Why wouldn't I get out? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that I need to feel complete? Glory? Yeah, but I can always get back in. So I don't know. I don't know. I need to do what's right. Okay. No, I'm not trading long-term waves. Uh, I bought where I said I would buy in January. Okay. So I'm just running my trade plan. I think it's pretty likely that we head back down in here. No, I didn't get in January. I got in the third week of August, right here. Got in here. See, I'm long here, so that basically just below this. Can't even grab it. There we go. I'm in down on this orange line on the Fibonacci retracement. I think this first one. So it looks like I went long about the 12th of August, but it might have been the 18th or something. I don't know. We had set it up so far in advance. There's nothing special about it at all. So that's that. Guess we can do this one. We set this up what, Monday or Tuesday, was it? Can't remember. So I had an order here. You see how it dropped and immediately went straight up into the profit zone. And so I'm long two, and I have two limits to go. Okay. So this is the old plan. The new plan. Let me adjust this. We have this planned out on a different chart. I'm just updating. The old plan was to go long, and it went up. Now the new plan is, well, you know what, that's a 5-minute chart, so that's not cool. Let's do it this way. I think that was the plan. All right. So the plan now is this. Into the roll reversal and then long again. Oh, my auto trading got turned off. Right? That's the general plan, right? And so what I showed you guys is long, 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 and then long here. And this is already a stop. So it looks like if I go along here, I'll stop out on the other one. So I should move this. So you guys get it? So I was just trying to show you another way to enter your trades. So I have one at the pivot point. I have one at a 3A2, I think it is. I have one on top of this pivot and one on top of that pivot. Anything lower than that is lower than a 618, and I'll just wait it out. And I believe I have an OCO on this on a different chart that will throw down 100, 300 OCOs. All right. So it'll come down, I'll either lose $1,000 or I'll make $1,200. 12,000. What? 300 times 4, yeah. Right? 12,000. I'll lose 1,000. If I get them all and they all go up, then I'll make 12,000. I don't know, I'm off. Who cares? I'll make money. you know, but they're quarter lots, right? So yeah, I'll make 4,000 or I'll lose 1,000. You guys pay attention to the National Bank today? How far are we from the news? Thank you. Swiss National Bank wants the Swissy to weaken further. Okay. Lufletulumum. So right now they pay you 0.75% to borrow the money. Isn't that neat? How would you like to have a mortgage that pays you 0.75%? Every month you got a check for borrowing money.
August CPI headline month-on-month expected 0.2%. Year-over-year, CPI expected 1.8%, and the core expected 1.6%. Weekly initial jobless claims expected at 300,000, prior was 298,000. Continuing claims expected 1.97 million. Let's get Canada New Housing Price Index for July expected at 0.4% month-on-month. And headline CPI month-over-month expected plus 0.3% versus 0.1% the prior month. Could be some increase in the headline CPI number due to higher gasoline prices caused by Hurricane Harvard.
All right, let's get going, guys. Thanks for being clients. Throw your diamonds in the sky. Oops. All right, let's go.
CPI 0.4% is 1/10 higher than expected. Core at 0.2% is in line. Year-over-year 1.9% is 1/10 higher than expected. Core at 1.7% is 1/10 higher than expected. Initial jobless claims 284,000, below the 300,000 expected. No back week revision. Pending claims 1.94 million, below 1.97 million expected, with the back week rise a little higher. Canada New Housing Price Index 0.4% is in line with expectation month-on-month, 3.8% year-over-year.
So there's the numbers. Little bit of inflation. You know, that's inflation, you know, like let's say in September. I think what you're going to start seeing is high gasoline prices because of the hurricanes. Hurricanes in Florida, hurricane in Texas. So it doesn't affect oil supplies, but it affects gasoline supplies, right? And gasoline supplies show up in CPI data and they show up in retail sales. So also expect retail sales to skyrocket. And people will say, oh my goodness, people are spending money at JCPenney. People are buying stuff at Macy's. No, they have to pay $1 more per gallon for gasoline. They haven't bought anything else that they wouldn't have bought otherwise. Okay, so CPI headline and as expected core. Look at that. Headline is twice as high as core. So anyways, people are thinking that that's good for the dollar. Zoom in here. And look at this. You were supposed to get out already anyways, right? So it depends if you want to buy that dollar or buy that pound. If you're bullish on both, find something else to do.
Not only on the CPI data, again, headline coming in 1/10 higher than expected. The commentary noting that Hurricane Harvey had only a very small effect on survey responses in August.
Pig taking off again. It's come and gone off the roll reversal. You might want to look at Aussie at support. Look at Euro at support. Would you guys call this a WM3, WM1 move? Very similar to this move.
U.S. Treasury yields are marginally higher. The dollar
Very similar to this
slightly
move.
firmer here following the release of the CPI data.
It's gorgeous, right?
The dollar index at 92.55, up 12 ticks. The euro did fall to a low of 118.37, currently 118.51. Benchmark US 10
Look at all these moves, guys.
2.21%, about 1 to 1.5 basis points from where we were heading into the CPI figures.
Check this out. M3 to M1, M2 to M4, right? M4 to M2, M2 to M4, M3 to M1, M3 to M1, M2 to M4, M4 to M2, M2 to M4, M3 to M1. Is that great? Like straight out of the swing trading course, huh? Love it. This is all very dangerous in here because of the resistance. USD yen. Look at, we're on our target for the week. Yeah. So let's do like a probability study. Okay. We're in the trade zone. What are you supposed to do in there? Take profit. Thank you. We're in the trade zone. What are you supposed to do? Take profit. We're in the trade zone. What are you supposed to do? Once again, we're in the pivot profit zone. What are you supposed to do? Okay. We're in the trade zone now. What are you supposed to do? It might go higher. See, you understand when I talk about the law of averages? If you sit and you trade every day for years and years and years, this might go higher, but does it matter? What does it usually do? I mean, what if you just take Friday off and go, you know, volunteer as a docent at a museum? Right? You could say, oh, Wayne, but I would miss all of this awesomeness. I'd miss all that awesomeness if I did that. No, so the law of averages says, look, if you get out here, you're going to get you get a lot and you don't risk the pullback, right? You get a lot, you don't risk the pullback. Imagine you stayed short here, or shorted again, or shorted again, and shorted again. What happened? You lost money. What if you kept buying in here? You lost money. What if you kept selling down there? You lost money. So what are you going to do now? You're going to keep buying? Oh, well, the news is so amazing, Wayne. What's the law of averages tell you? What does technical analysis tell you? Let's say it's not even an opinion anymore. Do you use technical analysis or not? Right? Point taken? I mean, what are you going to tell your clients? Oh, yeah, I love technical analysis. I do it all the time. I just don't follow any of the rules. I rely on my gut and I rely on hope. And if hope doesn't work, I pray. And if praying to God doesn't work, I pray to a different God. And if that doesn't work, I pray to the devil. And if that doesn't work, I have a golden ox. But I can't really afford a golden ox. It's not really a golden ox. It's like copper and some spray paint, but it's a copper and spray paint ox. Sometimes that works. If I was more successful, I would have a golden ox and things would be better. Would you lend me some money so I can buy a golden ox? I promise you, I'll double your money. Yeah, I bought this golden crystal. I bought this crystal in Hong Kong. They said if I look into it, I can see the future. And I said, really? How much is it? A bajillion? I don't have a bajillion. Well, how much do you have? I have 1,000. Then it's 1,000. And are you sure I can really see the future with this? Oh, yes, for $1,000, you see future. Oh my God, this is so awesome. And it's really over 1,000 years old? Yeah, it's from the Ping Pong dynasty. Very old, very old. $1,000, very good, very cheap. Okay, but as long as you promise me I can see the future, because I need this to work. It has to work. I'm all in, man. London breakout strategy. I'm all in. I need it, man. So anyways, I think we've had enough fun today. And look, it's not the words of wisdom. I'm simply shining light where it needs to be shown. So anyways, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. My Florida refugees are going back to Florida today with their 19 cats. So I got to go say goodbye. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being clients of TradersWay. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I don't say it for lip service. I really do. Thank you for an hour of power. Huh? Cheers.